The Breakdown, penned by British author B. A. Paris in 2017, delves into the realm of psychological thriller. The story revolves around Cassandra Cass Anderson, a schoolteacher who becomes entangled in the mystery surrounding the death of an acquaintance named Jane Walters. Complicating matters is Cass's own struggle with apparent memory lapses, which instill fear of early-onset dementia. Paris's second novel garnered mixed reviews, with Kirkus Reviews describing it as paranoid and claustrophobic but burdened by an excess of twists. The narrative begins at a schoolteacher's party, where Cass eagerly anticipates returning home to her husband, Matthew, who is suffering from a migraine. Matthew implores her not to take a shortcut through the nearby woods that border their secluded cottage at Nook's Corner, but Cass ignores his request. While driving through the woods, she encounters a stationary car with a woman in the driver's seat. Despite her apprehension, Cass feels obligated to offer assistance and decides to park her car ahead of the stranded vehicle. Strangely, the woman shows no signs of needing help, so after a brief pause, Cass continues her journey home. The following day, Cass discovers that the unidentified female driver in the woods was brutally murdered. Consumed by guilt, Cass realizes that the victim was none other than Jane Walters, whom she had recently met and admired. Adding to her fragile mental state, Cass grapples with crippling anxiety. Her deceased mother had suffered from early-onset dementia, and now Cass experiences unsettling episodes of memory loss, fueling her fears of succumbing to the same fate. As the story progresses, Cass's already fragile state of mind is further tested. She fails to recall an agreement with her best friend, Rachel, to pick up a gift for a mutual acquaintance, which deeply annoys Rachel. Moreover, Cass begins receiving anonymous nuisance calls where the caller remains silent upon answering. The unnerving incidents intensify Cass's paranoia and contribute to the mounting suspense within the narrative. Cass becomes increasingly fearful that the mysterious nuisance calls are somehow connected to Jane Walters' murder, but she is unable to confide in anyone. She has kept her encounter with Jane on the night of the murder a secret, although she anonymously reported it to the police. Concerned about Cass's memory lapses, Matthew insists that she see a doctor. Reluctantly, Cass agrees, but tension arises during the appointment when she realizes that the doctor and Matthew have already discussed her case. The doctor prescribes medication, which Cass is hesitant to take. However, under Matthew's persistent persuasion, she eventually agrees to give them a try. The pills induce drowsiness, causing Cass to sleep through entire days. When Matthew returns home in the evenings, she awakens, and on weekends, she refrains from taking the medication. However, in Matthew's absence, she finds solace in sleep. Amidst her struggles, Cass finds herself accumulating a surplus of pills. Matthew grows impatient with her memory loss, sleepiness, and what he perceives as a potential addiction to the sleeping pills, leading to frequent arguments between them. After a particularly difficult period, Cass wakes up feeling unwell and calls for an ambulance. At the hospital, she receives a diagnosis of an overdose. Though she vehemently denies intentionally taking an excessive amount of medication, further testing reveals a large quantity of the spare pills in her system, leaving her wondering if she unknowingly overdosed and subsequently forgot about it. Shaken by the incident, Cass resolves to regain control of her life. She musters the courage to visit Jane's husband and confess that she saw Jane on the night of her murder. He assures her that she bears no responsibility for Jane's death. He also suggests that the nuisance caller is unlikely to be the actual murderer, but rather someone familiar to Cass. Determined to confront the situation, Cass firmly stands up to the caller during their next interaction. She also arranges to meet with Rachel, arriving early and unexpectedly discovering Rachel engrossed in a conversation with John, a fellow teacher who had once expressed romantic interest in Cass prior to her marriage. Just as Cass is preparing to leave after her meeting with Rachel, a young girl from another table approaches her and hands her a phone, claiming it belongs to Rachel. Skeptical of the girl's claim, Cass decides to verify it by calling the first number on the recent call list. To her surprise, Matthew's voicemail greets her. In a moment of revelation, Cass discovers text messages exchanged between Rachel and Matthew, exposing their deceitful actions. She realizes that they have been behind the nuisance calls and have manipulated her into believing she is experiencing memory loss. Cass further unravels the shocking truth: Rachel and Matthew are having an affair. With her suspicions confirmed, Cass plots her revenge. She cunningly implicates Rachel and Matthew in Jane's murder, prompting the police to investigate. As the investigation unfolds, it is revealed that Rachel was indeed responsible for Jane's death. Rachel confesses that Jane had discovered their affair and intended to inform Cass. Rachel's plan was to manipulate Cass into being institutionalized, allowing Rachel and Matthew to gain control of Cass's inheritance. Rachel justified her actions by referencing her support during Cass's mother's final illness and feeling entitled to the money. In this revelation, Cass finds her liberation. The truth sets her free from the web of deception and manipulation spun by Rachel and Matthew. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.